with the advancement of new technology, the world is shrinking. But there are still deep, unexplored areas beyond what the human eye can see. The microscopic world, for example, is truly fascinating. But today, I'll be talking about a world that is a billion times smaller than this. I'm going to be talking about nanotechnology. Good morning to all present here. I'm Nayantara Bista from grade 10, giving a science talk on nanotechnology and all of its mysteries. Nanotechnology can be simply defined as, well, the use and manipulation of matter in a really, really small level, the supramolecular level or in the nanoscale. To get an idea of how small exactly, let's take an example of a single strand of hair, the smallest known substance in the entire world. This strand of hair is still 50,000 nanometers bigger than an actual nanometer itself. So we'd only be able to reach the nanoscale if, let's say, this hair had hair, that also had hair, that also had hair. You get it. It's super small. But why does it really matter? Well, when you look at small things, you actually get to know and discover aspects and parts about the universe that you otherwise wouldn't have known. There are a separate set of physics and all the laws that apply to this particular field that wouldn't be applied anywhere else. Okay, we know that. So what does it really do? Well, when we work with things at such a nanoscale, we can actually change the world around us, literally. Wait. I know you're confused, but let me explain. You see, everything in this world is made up of atoms. The clothes I'm wearing, the stage I'm standing on, this curtain right here, all of you present here. So atoms are basically like the building blocks. Now let's take an example of a car. A car is made up of many parts, like the side mirror, the tire, the hand cap, the tail lights, etc. And it is, depending on how you arrange these parts of the car, that really determines how the car functions. Like a regular car is arranged in this one format that you always see in advertisements, but you can still arrange the parts in a different way. It will only change its function. Similarly, if we could somehow manipulate the objects around us, working at a nanoscale level, then we could change their properties, their behavior, and ultimately change the world around us. There's a catch though, it's never that easy. You see, as things get smaller or even bigger, their property actually changes. This is actually a theory in quantum physics, so sometimes strange or counterintuitive behavior can be blamed on this. But hey, we learned so much about nanotechnology. So is it really being used in the world so far? Well, the answer to that would be yes, in short. You see, nanotechnology has made laptops that were once as big as the size of a room 40 years ago, as small as our palms, or even smaller, smartwatches. Nanotechnology has made it possible to make big devices like the aeroplanes and ships that would otherwise be too heavy to even float on sea or float in air. Nanotechnology has allowed us to make bendable, stretchable smartphones and other various gadgets. Nanotechnology has also been used, or well, there is a possibility of it being used in medical fields. You see, with nanotechnology, we can develop small nanobots that can penetrate through the skin cells and into the site of infection, where they can release the exact amount of medicine in precise timing in the exact location in order to cure the person. I know, it sounds crazy, something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but this is actually possible. In fact, did you know your favorite sci-fi movies like Avengers and other Iron Man movies all use nanotechnology? I know, super cool. Okay, there's medicine and there's everyday life. But what else can nanotechnology solve? Well, environmental issues like environmental pollution and overexploitation of natural resources. It's actually a pretty new thing that is being studied and discovered and researched on, but it is possible. I mentioned about nanobots earlier, so let's go back to those nanobots, shall we? So nanobots can not only be used in medicine, but also to filter out environmental pollutions, as they can really interact with dust particles in a way 1,000 times more efficient than we humans normally would. They could fight all of those germs without us ever having to do anything. And there's a bonus to this. You see, when water sources are cleaned by nanobots, they can also help remove arsenic, a naturally found substance in water sources, especially in developing, underdeveloped countries, that is actually harmful for human health. So it is advantageous both ways. Similarly, nanotechnology can also help us go and move towards a greener earth by, well, saving environmental resources. How? Well, let's take an example of tissue paper. An average household is said to go through at least, I'll repeat this, an average household is said to go through at least 25 rolls of tissue paper on a monthly basis. Those are a lot of trees being cut down. Now, if we were to somehow make these more sustainable, then we could definitely reduce that number to at least 10 tissue papers per house. And well, it is possible through nanotechnology. You see, with nanotechnology, we can manipulate the properties of tissue paper to make it sustain 20 times its original weight. So that would cut to about only 7 tissue paper rolls being used by an average household monthly. Okay, I've only been seen to, list the advantages, but what are the disadvantages? Because everything that has good aspects to it also has the bad aspects. And well, nanotechnology, it does have its own bad aspects. Before that though, I'd like to state that nanotechnology is a new field. It's still being researched on, scientists are still exploring. So these bad aspects may not be that bad in, let's say, the future after 20 years. However, for now, nanotechnology is a new field. And nanotechnology, scientists fear that when developing nanobots, one of the major advancements of nanotechnology, we're actually going to be using more environmental resources than conserving environmental resources in the long run. Since you see, nanobots actually require a lot of environmental resources like solvents and also a large, hefty amount of water in order to actually be developed. So we're pretty much trying to save the environment by using things that harm it. But then we don't really know what will happen in the long run. You see, it's still a mystery. So scientists are still exploring on, and hopefully one day we can reach a world where nanotechnology has nothing but advantages. Thank you.